Get out of your mind already!
Death is close.
I love the dead.
Frequently, you have already lost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Adam here, and I've got a little assistant with me today. You can say hello? Yeah. So I've got little Joseph with me, and you can say hello to all the people at home, Joseph?
Hello.
The reason that I'm doing this is I've realised that we've missed out on episode 105. We've gone straight from 104 to 106. So I thought the best thing to do there would be to do a little Patreon overview episode, throw in some clips of stuff we've been doing on Patreon, and then finish off with the Dainty Angels teaser for the series I'm probably working on, out next year. A little bit. It's a horror anthology series set for any more than that, just keep it here. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. And Joseph's going to tell you all about Squigs. You're going to tell people about Squigs? No? Okay. What about this Squig? What's this Squig? Do you like orcs? Okay, you put the sticker on the Squig as a this is a audio nonsense. Visual nonsense in audio medium. There you go, excellent stuff. What's your favourite orc? You're a favourite goblin? What about gargoyles? You like gargoyles, don't you? Okay, alright, you don't like gargoyles. Do you like tanks? Okay, I'm holding this one. That's fine. Okay then. So, with my glamorous little assistant, would you like to say 1, 2, 3, go? And we will get into the Patreon clips. So you say it. 1, 2, 3, go! Apparently, I can't play the clips. Am I not allowed? Eh? No, you have to press the buttons. No, don't you press the buttons. Don't you press the buttons. You press them with your finger. You do. Okie dokes. So, that's what we're going to do today. We are going to throw out a load of clips from the Patreon shows with the different guests.
What's this?
That's my microphone. That's the other part of the microphone. I'm probably making a lot of noise. You touching it, alright? What?
I could put it out.
What's putting in your mouth?
Stick on.
Okay, you put the sticker on. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through some clips from the Patreon shows, be getting an idea of what they are, and having our grocery. What are you doing?
I just put it out.
Okay. Right, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. Me and my chaotic little familiar here are going to get out of it.
Hello. Hello.
It's my time!
They gave the dwarves this giant cask of the finest wine, which the dwarf king drank in about 30 seconds flat.
Yeah.
And then the elves couldn't drink the beer that the dwarves gave them because it was too harsh.
Was it Bugman's?
It was predates Bugman's.
Free Bugman's.
Bugman's.
All right.
Bugman wasn't a twinkle in his father's eye at that point. But because the only cask of this ale of this wine that had ever been made was drunk in 30 seconds, there was a bit of an argument. The dwarf was shaved and sent back, and thus began the War of the Beard.
Right, because he was shaved.
Because he was shaved.
Because the elves shaved him.
Because the elves shaved him and sent him back.
God damn it.
I think that's probably been redone by now, but that's...
Will it have been? Because that was the old world. So.
It was. I think that was a story that was in 1st or 2nd edition Warhammer.
Oh my god. Which
So-
was when?
No, God, the 80s.
Early 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, third edition Warhammer, which is where you start thinking of Warhammer being Warhammer.
Yeah, as we know it.
That's 1992, I think.
Something like that. I
92,
think.
93.
Yeah.
Goblins. Yeah,
Good stuff.
Goblins and High Elves.
Yeah,
That's the one.
No, for me it was Bretonians and Lizardmen.
Yeah,
fourth?
edition.
Fourth.
Yeah. That was actually probably a much better game, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it lacked the 80s Gurgness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gurgness is the word I use.
And I'd argue maybe a little bit less of an interesting set.
Um,
Bretonians are arguably a bit
French.
bland.
Yeah, compared to goblins and high elves.
Yeah.
But the Bretonians have a lovely little bit of backstory.
They do. This is true. This
Yeah,
is true.
especially now when you start looking at the Bretonians and going, huh, well,
They had a sad fate.
that.
Or the ideas of them had a sad fate.
Do you know how it ends for the Bretonians?
You mean in the end times?
Yeah.
No.
I know that we are way off it. We've done it. We've done it now.
It happens.
So they find out that the lady in the lake
Yeah.
is Alarielle.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So-
the current
yeah.
leader of the Wood Elves.
So, and all those visions and everything of the Holy Grail that they keep getting,
Yeah.
it's Wood Elves messing with them.
Yeah, yes. See, I already knew that, but it's the fact
Yeah.
that they actually found out that was the case.
It was confirmed in the
Right.
end times. But anyhow, so
Gotrek.
Gotrek, Gurnison, and the Slayers. So to be a Slayer, what you will have to do is be found guilty of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
That crime could be anything from thievery right the way through to murder, through anything. The Dwarven Society has these weird rules in them. So almost anything could make you into a Slayer.
Was that from a society standpoint for the reason that they needed slayers?
Yes. So if you think about a race that if you make an oath and you break that oath,
Yeah.
you have to become a Slayer because you are an oath breaker. You've broken the strongest bond that you can break.
Yeah.
A contract is worthless because you have to be by the strength of your word.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about a race that is so ingrained in the traditions of honor and the traditions of trustworthiness,
Yeah.
steadfastness and things like that, that if those were broken, you are exorcised from the community. We'll get to Gotrek's. Well, we might get to Gotrek's entire reason for becoming a Slayer later. It is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, because I know nothing of it.
We might get to it later on.
Okay.
It is a wonderful. It's not wonderful. It's horrible. Oh god, it's awful. But we will do that, I think, towards the end.
That makes
with
sense.
With a little bit of a spoiler.
Sure.
Okay. So in Gotrek's case, something happens. He goes. He has his head shaved and his beard shaved, and the beard and the hair are burnt as an offering to Grungy. And then from that point on, his name is added to the Book of Slayers, and he is, for all intents and purposes, dead.
Right.
He can no longer do anything for his family. He will no longer be remembered. Any actions and deeds he does from this point forward, they are now recorded under the name of Gotrek the Slayer, not Gotrek of the Clan of Gurnison.
And that's why he wants Felix along, effectively, to almost, I guess, bypass.
Yeah, so he can be remembered.
Yeah.
Because Gotrek is an egotist.
See, I was going to ask if it was a thing within Dwarven society, whether it was important for you to be remembered or if it was just a thing that Gotrek just wants to be remembered, like you say, because he's an egotist.
It's a bit of both.
It's a bit, okay.
So, to be remembered in Dwarven society is to be a living legend.
Right.
The name is passed on. So
That's why Gotrek talks a lot about respecting your ancestors.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the ancestors give your family honor, they give your family strength in a lot of ways.
Right.
The acts of, I don't know, Gotrek's great-great-grandfather are still as important now to Dwarven society as they were when he did them.
Okay.
Because it's the act of remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
And to take Felix Jaeger as a remembrance, as a dwarf friend, it means that his story can be written down, recorded, and then he will be remembered forever through the generations, which means he can never truly die.
Right.
Even though his entire point is to die.
Right.
He has to die to atone for his sins.
Yeah.
Which is what I mean by he's the least successful, because he won't.
Because he can't. Yeah, he won't die because
Yes.
he's too good
Yes.
and lucky.
No,
No,
it's
he's
not.
not
It's not lucky. It's skill, and it's his axe.
Okay.
His axe refuses to let him die. It's Kazgrul. It's a fantastic creation. But anyhow, so that is the basis of Gottfried Gernison.
Yeah.
Without going into what he did.
Yeah.
He then wanders around for, I think, about 30, 40 years. Just wandering around, going, oh, well, kill some of them. Kill some of that. And nothing...
Godless Southlanders, you dare trespass on my domain?
Like, we were talking about, like, 40k at some point. But yeah, and originally, I guess going back to kind of like my intro to it, originally I kind of took this sort of kind of like, oh, like people are kind of having fun with it. So, and that was one of the things that I didn't kind of exactly like about how my kind of original sort of view about it is that it was all kind of very well, grim, dark, and serious, and didn't really have kind of, a funny bone in its body, which is quite ironic once you actually get into like the actual sort of what 40k actually is, and it's like it's very funny. It definitely has a humorous aspect to it, especially in Rogue Trader country. But but people were kind of joshing with it, and I would say, like, they were making jokes and making fun of the fluff, but it never got to the point where it was sort of like, oh, taking the piss out of the work. It was. So it was that sort of thing where I guess I was kind of a bit of a hipster and kind of went of like, oh yeah, now I enjoy kind of 40k. I enjoy it like ironically. Or have happened. And I guess I'll tell you, everyone, to all of those people who say that they enjoy something ironically, be very, very careful what you do to that. Be like what you appreciate ironically, because that appreciation can turn very, very quickly into sincerity. And that's what kind of happened to me with 40k, because that's like, because I kind of feel like there are just so much people kind of working in it, yeah, so like so many different storytellers, and undoubtedly you got to have like one, or like you're going to come across someone who's good at it and can like turn characters who I would say are on kind of paper really hard to really identify with, I would say, because they do kind of occupy a very sort of odd state of existence, and also just in fiction. But as a good storyteller can make you identify or make you relate to a certain character, so pretty soon you get you kind of discover characters or aspects of it where you sincerely kind of make a connection to that, or if not make a connection, you kind of like that part of the fluff. And so I like, that's how kind of things happened to me. Sorry, the Discord just beeped at me, and like, oh boy, Discord is kind of like my Facebook to me, so it's always just about about that. But anyway,
That's okay.
I throughout my journey, I stumbled upon this weird small little podcast with only 3 episodes called the Fluffenhammer, and oh boy, was I blessed by the chaos gods today for in that they manipulated the algorithm for my pleasure and enjoyment and lifelong happiness.
I'm trying to think. Episode 3. What would we do with episode 3? That would be.
Oh no, but that was like
Simon Skay, I think.
That was like before the Gathering Storm, and when Robot Girly Man got was still sleeping, was still in kind of like his.
Yep. It was just after the launch of the Gene Stealer cults. That's when it would have been.
Yeah.
Bloody hellfire.
That is
I-
6 years ago.
Like, and by the
Oh.
way, oh, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking it's like that's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was back in, university,
Mhm.
that like at that point, and you guys literally got me through university at, some points.
I'm glad. It's,
Yeah.
I always love the idea that somebody will listen to us and take some joy out of the nonsense that we do. So thank you. That makes it all worthwhile. All the stress and shouting at the technology.
Yeah. And I guess what I would say that like I got me into sort of the like 40K was definitely kind of Rogue Trader and those earlier kind of versions of 40K, because it was very different from the 40K that I was originally introduced to, because the Rogue Trader 40K was like if was the weird love child between Mad Max and Flash Gordon. If that Mad Max Flash Gordon love child was raised completely on hair metal albums.
Oh yeah, Flash Max, the hair metal superstar. I'm in.
Exactly. It was exactly that. So that like, and I like, and I was. It was kind of in that point where I was really interested in kind of like the factoids of the place, and to me, I'm not really much of a mainstream sort of like guy, so it wasn't really kind of like the recent books or the recent stuff that that happened. It was more the like the old books, like the old Inquisition War by I can't remember
You-
his name right now.
You mean the Jacques Draco books?
Jacques Draco books, yeah.
Oh yeah, Ian Watson.
I read those books before everyone kind of discovered them, and it was kind of cool to hate on them. And I'm kind of annoyed at, the hate that those books get, because
They're
they
amazing.
what, you're calling them amazing or the hate amazing?
No, I'm calling those books amazing. Those books are fantastic. There is more concepts and crazed ideas thrown out per page in that series than entire novels get in their entire lifetime. It is incredible. I love them.
That's the thing that I kind of like about vintage science fiction. I remember listening to a guy who kind of said like to end pages of stuff happening in like Wheel of Time about it, like in as much like stuff happened in Conan, in a Conan short story, in like a single page. I hope that made sense. They were more kind of articulate there, but it's like, yeah, it's definitely that. And to me, I kind of feel that when people didn't really like those books, I kind of feel like, well, you just aren't really kind of getting it, is my kind of feeling about that.
I think they're very of the time. It's in the same way that going back and reading atomic punk stuff from like the 1940s and the 1950s, it feels very
Exactly.
weird.
Like,
I love that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I'm
and
not-
I don't know. There's all. I guess I'm kind of going back into sort of like people's sort of attitudes and opinions, and oh, I feel very.
Do you know what? I very nearly picked Astronomy.
Oh, it's such a good song.
What a banger
Four
it is,
winds
isn't it?
at the four winds bad. $2 locked down windows bad. $1 there to take you in.
Hang on, which version would you have picked? Because they recorded that twice, didn't they?
They did, yes. Oh Christ, I don't know. I would probably pick the second version, maybe.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting.
It depends on my mood at the time, because unfortunately, all I've got in my head now is just screaming astronomy down the microphone at the top of my lungs.
Oh, I believe quite a few people have taken a crack at covering that song, haven't they? I know.
Well, a fair few people have.
I know Metallica did it. Yeah.
Yeah, top-notch version of it as well. Absolutely top-notch. It's not the same song. They've definitely done a Metallica to it, but it's really, really good. The entirety of that second Gary Jink album's really good. It's just solid.
I think when you've got a song as solid as that, because Blue Oyster Cult, they write solid songs.
Oh, yeah.
When you've
Yeah,
got stuff like that, whoever takes a crack at it is going to do something that's going to be at least interesting with it. It's
Yeah.
like with Godzilla, the song that I picked. I think I read somewhere that Godzilla is apparently one of the most covered hard rock songs in history, and I thought surely that
Is
can't be
it?
right. Apparently, yeah, loads of people have done covers of it, and for my own curiosity, because this is the sort of stupid thing I do when I've got time on my hands. I remember checking it out, thinking, well, who's covered Godzilla? And sure enough, I can't remember half of the folks that came up in the list, but I spotted that Racer X, Paul Gilbert's band, they covered it. That's
Right.
quite easy to find. Really good version of Godzilla, and I even found on
Okay.
YouTube. I even found a video of the voice actress Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and the composer of the Silent Hill video game series soundtracks, Akira Yamaoka, and they played it live. And Mary McGlynn absolutely roars on it. I thought of all the things that I thought I would find today.
Right, I'm just going to make a note of that because I'm going to have to watch that and possibly stick that at the very end of the show. That is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah. Mary McGlynn and Akira Yamaoka have apparently collaborated on quite a bit of stuff together, and it's not the stuff I found that they've done together isn't necessarily stuff that I'd want to listen to, but it is interesting, very interesting. She's got a hell of a voice.
Oh my God, she's done a duet acoustic concert with Troy Baker. That's okay. Wow. All right, that's an interesting thing to have learned. I've learned something new.
Troy Baker will get his guitar out for anyone.
Absolutely, I know his guitar. The libelous. I was going to say, actually, yeah, Sergi Tatanka did a really good version of it for King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
a really
was
chunky
not
version.
I was not as keen on that.
No,
I don't. What is it? System of a Down. That's the band he's from. I'm not keen on them.
There's a lot of understanding there because System of a Down are one of those bands that are either really, really good or fucking terrible. And there's no halfway point. They've never put out an album which is solid from start to finish. They've always put out an album with great singles. I mean, stuff like Pogo is a great song. It's a great dance floor song. Sugar is a great song, legitimately a really, really good song. But for every one of them, there's 3 songs on that album which is almost unlistenable.
Succulent vitality!
Just like a little therapeutic ranting, because
Yeah,
it's
that's-
always good. Good for the soul.
When you told me about the show, it's like, I don't know. what are we talking about? You're like, just bring some topics. I was like, oh, Jesus, okay. Now, I guess one of the things I thought about while having a poo one day was, what does it mean to be a demon prince?
All right, okay.
In the essence of, like, you know how you change
Yeah.
into a demon prince? Is that still you? Is it a copy of you? Is it a warped version of yourself? Or is that something that takes place over time? Like, what was your interpretation of demon princehood?
There's a line in one of the early Felix and Gottschalk's books, and it I can't remember it exactly, but it's something along the lines of, the more you succumb to the ruinous powers, the more you give of yourself, and you become just a puppet dancing on the strings of the ruinous powers.
So what happens to you? Is it like at that point, is the analogy like you're a drug addict in a sense? Or like you're still you, but because you're so ingrained into the chaotic powers that you just do whatever your cravings, for example, your drug cravings are telling you to do?
Yeah, in a way. I think it's whatever the emotion is that brought you to that point becomes overwhelming. So if you have become a very jealous person who has turned to Zeech in order to get more power to get rid of the people around you who you feel have had more opportunities than you have or anything like that, then that becomes your overriding personality. You take that one element and it becomes everything. Yeah, it's like the people who their entire life is a fandom, or their entire life is a certain thing. It becomes that. It becomes a all-encompassing, all-engrossing, singular mindset, and all you do is think about that. So
Right.
a really good way of looking at it would be if you're cornate, you obviously you surrender yourself to the bloodlust, you surrender yourself to the violence, and that becomes your one overriding aspect in life. You're not a thinker anymore. You're not going to be a philosopher. You're not going to be sitting there on your skull taker going, I think, therefore I am. It's more like nash, nash, bite, bite, clawing, clawing, kill. It becomes all of that. So Zeech becomes whatever brought you to it. Slanesh, obviously, that's a really easy one because it's an overriding pleasure of some description.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be taken to the nth degree, and then it's torn apart and becomes various other sections. If you're like glutton, if you're a glutton and all you want to do is eat, you just become this never-ending eating machine, constantly looking for the next thing to try, the next delicacy to eat. It can be anything, whatever brings you to that point. And I think when you become a demon prince, the you that did exist is completely submerged. It's gone, and it's replaced by this overwhelming emotion. Because the chaos powers are emotion given form, for want of a better term. Yeah, they are feeders of emotion. They're not multifaceted, highly intelligent thinkers of various philosophies. They are a singular purpose and satellited by all the things that drive that purpose. So I think that's kind of what you'd become. It might be one of a multitude of emotions, and each one of those can mutate in a completely unseeable way to take you to demon princehood. But I think that is it. Because, I mean, whenever you read about someone's ascension, it's always some form of sacrifice that they have to do. And I think that usually is the severing cut between having humanity and not having humanity, which would be the thing that takes you to full demonhood.
It's interesting because from your description, it sounds like, in a sense, when you evolve to become a demon prince, you die. You are you dissolve. Your soul, in a sense, dissolves, but in a slightly different way into the warp. But in this kind of case, it dissolves into the emotion that you, like you said, you sacrifice to become, I suppose.
Yeah. I think, for want of a better term, the soul becomes part of the power, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so you are no longer your own person. You become an extension of the power that you're serving. So I'm trying to think of a really famous demon prince, and outside of Bellicor, my brain's gone completely bye-byes.
Azazel.
There we go, yeah.
Festus.
Festus. Festus is a good one. So yeah, you just become an extension of the power. Now, we know the demons kind of just happen. You know, the greater demons, they kind of just happen in the realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, has anyone ascended to Demon Prince, ascended from that to Greater Demon? And I don't know if there has been any
Can
stories
you become a
of that.
greater demon if you're a human? I thought it was only human to prince, and like demon to greater.
I think that is exactly it. But I'm just wondering if there's anyone that's ever crossed over, because I don't think Nurgle's going to give too much of a shit, is he?
Not really.
He's going to be like, oh, you have been like the best demon prince I've ever had. You've brought entire civilizations to their knees with the common cold, and now I'm going to give you my ultimate gift of making you one of these big blubbering maniacs.
Well, aren't princes better than greater demons generally? I assume that greater demons were like on a lower echelon to a demon prince. Is that not the case?
I think it's two separate evolutions, isn't it? It's a greater demon is something that was born in the warp and becomes the pinnacle of it, whilst a demon prince is the end point of a human, a mortal life getting there.
Yeah.
You know, becoming the very best that they can. Be all that you can be.
They made it.
It's like the US military.
Yeah.
Only less chaotic. I mean, I think that's exactly what it is, isn't it? The two separate things, so that you wouldn't get one that became a greater demon or anything like that. But you would be very demonic in of yourself. What the hell's the story? The Deacon of Wounds. The Deacon of Wounds has a really good take on what a demon prince could be.
Right.
Because that's just like, oh god, that's disgusting. That may be the most disgusting thing I've ever read in a book. It's for want of a better term, the demon prince just becomes a giant quivering building.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's how it hides in plain sight. It's just infested in the walls of things.
Okay,
Ooh.
all right.
It's so gooey. So gooey.
It's the best kind of building. It's already got the mildew in it.
It's already got the black.
Maim, kill, burn! Maim, kill, burn!
I quite like the squat pathfinders we're getting on the trikes, the hover trikes. The kits are quite nice. I like that the kit you get, you can actually build 3 standard trikes. You don't have to build a support one. The support bit is like a bolt-on that just replaces the back portion of a regular trike.
Okay.
Which is quite nice. But I got thinking, well, so they've done these, and they're quite distinctly different to what bikers used to be back in the old squat days. Because back then it was the guild biker, or the biker guilds, or the engineer bike. It was to do with the engineers guild, and they had bikers because why not?
Because Viking dwarfs is awesome.
Yeah, and they were kind of. I mean, I still have fond memories of. Do you remember that old piece of artwork where you got an orc buggy and a squat stack trike, and the gunner is basically hanging on to the multi-melter and nothing else, blasting at his bike. And and that's the level of insanity I love with the squat bikers. That they're all have big moustaches, sideburns, bandanas and baseball caps and leather jackets or dirty vests and t-shirts. And they look like every heavy metal biker gang stereotype you can imagine.
They're pure Motorhead.
At least as envisaged by a bunch of mildly sozzled punks in the early 80s in Nottingham.
The best way to describe them is they're all on their way to see Motorhead supported by Anthrax.
Yes. And God help you if they've missed that performance. But I got to thinking, so they've moved in a very distinct direction with the Pioneers for the Voltan, where they're explorers. They've got a very distinct look with the heavy leather long coats, which I really like the look of, to be fair. That they all have. I actually kind of would wish they did some infantry in that look, to be honest. But I got thinking, the squat Pioneers of most recent gang for Necromunda, right? We know that so far the model they're using seems to be that every gang is getting their own biker equivalent of some sort.
Yeah.
So Orlok's got their quads with the bespoke riders. The Goliaths robbed some orcs. The Eschers, I've been watching way too much early 80s science fiction.
What they've been doing is just watching the jet pod racing sequences from Star Wars and whatever the hell that one's called. What is that first Star Wars prequel? Phantom Menace. Jesus H Christ. I was good.
Quick, someone call paramedics. Adam's stroking out.
John's having a stroke. I shouldn't find that.
But no, it just occurred to me that if they're giving each gang their own bespoke type of biker, which frankly excites me immensely to see what the Van Sars, the Cawdor, and the other sneaky fuckers with the long coat, the Delax, what they all get.
Delax will be basically armored snails. Cawdor, they won't have any wheels. It'll just be all hoisted on the backs of people. And
we know the Enforcers are probably just going to get Space Marine attack bikes to full Judge Dredd.
Absolutely.
Because what else could they have?
Those bikes have
but
to
it
go
occurred
somewhere.
to me, well, yes. But it just occurred to me, well, what if the Ironhead Prospectors are going to get an updated version of the Squat Guild Bikers?
That would be very cool.
But they've not been part of this initial release because they gave them their brute unit in the exosuit. But because the Ash Wastes rollout has been very gradual, and also I imagine because they don't want to steal thunder from the Voltan Codex, you know that people, full well, if they had a choice between Pioneers or Classic Squat Trikes updated,
Yeah.
odds on everyone's going to go for Classic Squat
Yeah,
Trikes,
absolutely.
which is a frustration, but that's what we're like.
Yeah. Especially as Oldens.
We're contrary like that.
As Oldens will do stuff like that.
But it just makes you wonder, well, are they going to do that? And what are they going to look like? Because that could be very cool. I mean, part of me is tempted to, I wanted to get some more Horlock quads anyway. But part of me is tempted to get some and try and convert those into trikes with squat riders
Oh,
instead.
very easy. You just you chop the guard off. You chop it in half at the point where the front guard happens, and then you take the front of the Primera spike, attach that, and that would be pretty much a solid fit. There's not much other than just a little bit of like green stuff cleanup. There's not much else you'd need to do on that. You got yourself a big old chunky trike. Or you just go even further than that. You leave the 4 wheels and then just stick a trike front on that. You have a 5-wheel trike.
Oh, oh my!
A quint.
God, I'm picturing it now. You got the rider, and then everything basically that is the quad is it's just a fighting platform.
What you do is you stick some amplifiers on it and a singular squat, just playing the guitar.
Actually, I've gone one further. It's basically a giant tuk-tuk.
Oh, yep. I'm in.
Filled with squats.
It's like a clown car, just filled.
Squats hanging off the sides.
I'm in. I'm completely in. Yep. I love it. And what I think would be a really good idea is you do 5 of them, and then each of them has a squat on the back with a different instrument, and then you make Squat Kiss, and they're just. Granted, it does mean you have to model a really long tongue on someone, but you know.
Yes. I'm sure there's a head that'll do that. No, you just get Lucius Vitello's head.
Oh, there you go.
Instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There you go. Got a tiny kiss.
Carve the. There's that really big hairdo from the Space War kit. Carve the head out of there. Pop it on top of Lucius' head. Job's good.
There we go. Problem solved. You've got yourself squat. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to make
what have I done?
To make a Necromunda squat team based on Kiss. All members, including Ace Frehley.
Oh my god! The thing is, if mixing some of those Chthonian berserkers, because they got the bare torsos, give you plenty of room to sculpt on Lycra.
Don't even have to sculpt it.
Oh man!
You can just paint that on.
Yeah. Oh no! This is seeming more and more likely. What have I done?
Oh, you've made yourself a hair metal Necromunda warband.
But it's Necromunda. Why wouldn't you?
Absolutely. If anything's going to work well for tie-dye and leopard pattern Lycra, it's going to be Necromunda.
I mean, hell, once upon a time, I did a squad of Gang of Goliaths for the local GW. I painted them all as Rogue Trader. Rogue Troopers, rather.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
yeah, that's good stuff.
And Van Sars's for the X-Men, because this was 2000, so why wouldn't I have done?
Black and yellow highlights. Yeah, makes sense. Or did you go like still primary color?
Oh, I went with the movie suit, so black with silver.
Yeah.
Even did a Wolverine conversion with. I can't remember the claws, but I know the head was from the original Space Wolf upgrade kit. Just filed the middle of the hair down to get the spikes.
I've got somewhere in one of these boxes a Goliath gang, who were all painted like Bane from Batman, called the Vertebreakers, and I was very happy with that. And I will have to get them out actually to play, because I think I might have to go back and do some Goliathing. That's like the idea of, I will raise you up and break you. But now, of course, if you're going to do a Kiss squat band, Oh man, you could have like the leader have his weapons called the love gun. Be amazing.
I'm just imagining an alternative approach. If you've done all his Bane of Vertebreakers, do a squat gang as Prince, bat dance.
But one of them's got to be Charlie Murphy. You're doing Charlie Murphy.
We're such bad people. We really are.
Oh man, I love the idea. It's like Necromunda, a world of dark terror, and then you just got like as Cypress squats just all start dancing around.
They're all doing the Joker dance from the museum scene. Oh, that means I've got to do some of them with leather jackets and pork pie hats.
Oh my god, squats with pork pie hats would be amazing.
Oh.
I am absolutely in for some pork pie hat squats. Although that now makes me want to do a squat army based on the cast of Desmond's, the old Channel 4 sitcom based on the Barbers. But you haven't thought of that in 20 years.
I really haven't. Jesus.
Oh, never the
God,
gangs
that show was
based on nothing but British sitcoms.
This is potentially go horribly, horribly wrong.
The Faulty Towers corridor. Yep, I'm in. I'm all about.
Greetings. This is Demios Katast. I am sending this message as a warning. Do not enter Tenebrae's atmosphere. It is cursed. We are no longer able. The dainty angels keep coming, and we cannot. There is no. I repeat, there is no. We are cursed. We are doomed. We hold out anymore. There. The hound calls for us. It calls us by name. It knows our names.